So are we supposed to start the podcast?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Patriots, gay triots, they triots, black triots, brown triots, and all of the triple Trumpers can do what, Pumps?
Fuck off!
All right, Pumps, what have you had it with?
Okay, what I've had it with is over honking. I like a good toot honk, put somebody's attention. I got over honked yesterday for almost 1 mile. And it was not my fault. He came screeching up behind me, honked like literally half of a mile past me and honked again while he was passing me. And I was like, that's just over honking. Like a little tap is fine, but over honking, no. And I will be the first to say, normally it was my bad. This was not my bad. I was just minding my own business. But the other car in front of me wasn't going as fast. And he came on like a bat out of hell, honked me for almost a mile.
Were you in the fast lane or the passing lane?
Well, it was a city street, but okay. I was in the fast lane, but we were coming up to a red light. And there was a car in front of me.
You think maybe he knew you were the I've had it lady?
No, I think he just had a bee in his bonnet, because then he switched over to the other lane and the car next to me, while he's honking me, is even going slower than me. And so then I speed up so that he can get around me and get away from this other car, because he was clearly so unhinged. And he started honking again when he passed me.
Prior to the honking, were you on your cell phone?
No, I knew you would ask that. And I was not. I've done really good about trying not to text. And I was not on my cell phone. I was not doing any, like, generally it's me being an inattentive driver. It was not me this time. But I just thought there's a place for a little honk. Just like, hey, you're at a stoplight, you're not paying attention. Little beep, beep. This guy, it was insane.
Yeah, I've definitely really laid on the horn with people, specifically when I'm at a red light and they're on their cell phone, because I have no tolerance for that. None. And I just think it's so rude that people are not paying attention, because we all have places to go. And so I can tell they're on their phone, and I just lay on it. But I wouldn't honk at somebody for no reason. I mean, I lay on it. And it's not a beep beep.
Like the whole mile?
No, it would stop. As soon as they go, I would stop, and then I'd probably go around them and be like, I do kind of a road rage thing. Like, what are you doing? Get off your cell phone. You know, nothing's that important.
No, that I would have been fine with. I would have 100% been fine with that. That was not this. This was like something was happening in his life that had nothing to do with driving, I felt like. And he was young, so I let it pass. But I mean, he was madder than a hornet at me. But the girl that was going slower than me, he let her off the hook. It's weird.
I feel like we're missing a piece to this.
No, I mean, it could be in my storytelling, but that was my vantage point. I may have done something that
you were driving perfectly normally. There was a car in front of you going slower than you were pacing.
Yes. And he was going super fast. Like, I thought he was going to hit me. And so when I saw him going super fast, I did kind of slow down, because I didn't want to hit like, if he hit me, I didn't want the car in front of me, like to make a 3-car pileup. So maybe he thought I overcorrected, like slamming on, but I didn't slam on my brakes. I looked up and I was like, oh gosh, he's going to hit the back of me, kind of thing.
Right.
Thank goodness. Do you ever worry, like, when the dogs are in the back seat, you're going to get hit, and then the dogs are going to be.
I've had that worry before. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, dogs weren't with me. It was not my fault. Generally, I'm the problem driving. It was not me, but it was an overhonk.
I wonder if he was on like meth or something. It sounds a little methy.
That thought occurred to me. I mean, I could see it, because immediately I thought, oh yeah, he's a Trumper. But he was a non-voter.
All right. In lieu of giving a grievance today, I'm going to share. I came back to Oklahoma City, and I always come back to snail mail on my desk.
Right.
And the snail mail, here is a little sampling of the snail mail that I received. First and foremost, I received a letter from a guy that is in prison.
Really?
Yeah. And we're just going to refer to him as Mr. Prison, because I don't want to give away his identity. And on the envelope, it says that it's an inmate at the Arizona Department of Corrections. And it says 6 pages enclosed. And then he says to the ADC staff, stop removing my science papers in my postal mail envelopes.
So wait, on the outside of the envelope?
Right here.
It says like,
Let me remove his identity right here. It says 6 pages.
stop removing his science papers.
Whoops. Fuck. Hang on. All right. Right here. It says 6 pages. Stop removing my science papers. And I could tell that it had been opened. And it says on the outside of the envelope, inspected. And of course, I naturally thought about how you have told everybody that you would never date an inmate.
So you think this is it, the love match?
So I was expecting a hate letter, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, much to my surprise,
Oh my gosh.
it was only 1 page. So they did remove his science papers.
What do you think the science papers are?
He's an inventor and he was sending me his inventions.
Oh,
That's what I'm getting to here.
Okay.
So it says to Jennifer Welch, thank you for what you do. I have no internet access, but I have access to whatever podcast the prison allows us to listen to. You were on the January New Yorker radio hour. Will you promote making all utilities public owned and a 70 to 80% flat tax, no deductions? And he has all of this legislation he wants me to promote. And then we go into the back page and it's all single spaced here.
Nice handwriting.
Yeah. We get to the back page and enclosed is some stuff. And I didn't get the stuff because despite him telling them not to remove his science papers, they did remove his science papers, which infuriates me because now I really want the science papers. So enclosed is some stuff I wrote up and the $1,400 for free paper. So I think the prison stole $1,400 he was going to send to me, which I'm furious about that as well. I am an inventor, science type. If you want any of my ideas to develop, have a good day. And then he signs the letter to me. So I was like, well, this is, I get a lot of hate mail.
That's kind of a nice change.
I want the science papers and I want my $1,400.
Okay, what I'm wondering is, and maybe this is crazy to think, it must be pretty legit if they're taking it from him. Or do you think it's so crazy? I'm kind of thinking maybe he's like onto something and they're trying to steal it.
I think we're giving way too much credit
Okay.
to Mr. Prison.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know why. Maybe it's some sort of escape plan. Who knows what it's probably some sort of contraband that he's trying to smuggle out of the prison. I don't know, but I doubt that we have some Einstein in the Arizona correctional facility that the guard who has to read the mail is like, oh God, no, we can't let this. All right. So then we get more onto the hate mail that I'm used to getting. And this one is from a guy in West Virginia. Anonymous sent it. And for the return address, they just put #1 fan. So I was like, oh, it's not hate mail. Well, much to my surprise, it says, Dear Mrs. Welch, you are a Christophobic bitch. You think just because people go to church, they're white nationalists? What proof do you have? You liberals are Nazi hate mongers. If I were you, I'd watch your back, you horse-faced bitch. Your face and nose make you look so ugly. I bet you take it up the ass. You fucking ugly bitch. Go fuck yourself, you self-serving, disgusting skank. Watch your back because we're coming for you. Fuck you. Oh, there's anthrax in this letter, bitch. So this is the kind of shit when you speak out against the cult that is white Christian nationalism. And when you speak out against MAGA, this is the kind of shit you get. And I get this shit all the time. And I guess it never occurs to him that he's telling me in this letter that he's so religious and then he behaves this way.
Right. The irony is lost.
But my thing about this is, who do I report this to? Do I send this to Kash Patel? When you have a Justice Department that is sworn 100% loyalty to the President of the United States, who is a thin-skinned felon con man that sells pardons, lies all the time, and you get, if you're a person in the independent media and you get hate mail like this all the time, which I do, who do you report it to in the United States? Because we don't have an independent Justice Department. Trump just put in a Hitler style manner, he put his image, a picture of him, mugshot style picture of him on the DOJ. So, I'm a big girl. I can take a lot of stuff, but when you get stuff like this, and then, we recently canceled our I've Had It Twitter account because they were doxing my family's location on there So I was like, fuck that. Just delete the Twitter account. It's not worth it. Who do you report this stuff to in America?
There's no one, because it's crossed state lines. So it makes it federal.
Right.
So you would have to report it to the DOJ. And I'm sure they'd give them a pat on the back.
Right.
I mean, it is unbelievable how terrifying a time it is in terms of law enforcement and criminality.
Like, I genuinely am puzzled. Like, it's very clear that this government is set up for Trump and anybody who supports him, and that's it.
That's it.
That's the list.
Yeah.
I mean, the Supreme Court, now he's accusing of being, like foreign assets and all this stuff because they ruled against him. And so when you start getting death threats because you're exercising your First Amendment right, which I have a right to criticize religion. There's a lot to criticize there based on his letter, how manic and maniacal this guy is. And obviously, I don't think there was anthrax in the letter. If we both die before the episode's over, I apologize. But that's just something as I do this and I get these death threats because I have conviction and I care deeply about what I'm talking about. It attracts, they put you on Fox.
Right.
And then all of these white Christians that sit around and watch Fox, they support this shit.
Right.
There's nobody's going to say, hey, that's too far.
Right. Don't do that. That's not something that you need to be associated with. You cannot do that. First Amendment right. Nobody says anything. They don't.
Yes. I just don't know who I'm supposed to report that to. So I wanted to report it to the audience.
I will have to say it's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, it's because people are just so rabid in their, cult-like psychosis for this man. It's just insane. And the fact that now you have people like shit talking is the First Amendment. Right. You get to shit talk.
Yeah.
And you have these right-wingers, MAGA cultists that are so triggered by shit talking, yet they do it all the time. When somebody puts a mirror up to their faith and says, hey, I think white nationalism is racist, oppressive, hurtful to marginalized people, and the opposite of what the central character of the religion taught, they freak out, which tells you, you've kind of clocked them, and it's an important conversation to have. But it's just, the problem with this is the DOJ has said they're going to make files on people that talk about anti-Christian sentiments, which we do all the time, and anti-MAGA stuff that criticize America. And so my thing is, like, do we have a First Amendment or not? Do we have a Department of Justice or not? And I'm going more towards, no, we don't have this stuff anymore.
I definitely don't think we have a Department of Justice. I think right now we still have the First Amendment, but we're only a year in. I mean, we've got 3 more years. Mm-hmm. And, you see, Don Lemon and another reporter arrested.
3 other reporters.
3 other reporters. Mm-hmm. So it's coming. They're constantly threatening the Misalis brothers from Midas Touch. So right now we have it, but how soon will the DOJ, who's making all these files, that's going through all your that's going through everything in your life, because we know they are, because they've told us they are. They're making lists. They're searching everything. Is it going to be a traffic ticket that turns into a 6-week incarceration? Like, you just don't know. They are willing to lie, make up charges. There's zero thought to, can I prove it? Is it true? Because here's the thing. When I look at all the cases the DOJ has filed against protesters and alleged people that were involved with these ICE raids, every time they go to court and show the evidence, it turns out they were lying.
Yeah.
So there's zero thought that they would lie and make up something that you were doing.
Right.
Or plant evidence.
Right.
I think that the FBI planted evidence in a couple of these shootings that we've had. So it is very scary, but there is no DOJ, in my opinion.
No, I mean, and there's no FBI like to report this, that, hey, I'm exercising my First Amendment. This is pro-business, whether you like it or not. Right-wing podcasts, left-wing podcasts, centrist podcasts, girly influencer podcasts, brosphere podcasts are not only First Amendment, but an integral part of the economy for all of the fiscal conservatives. And when you don't have a Justice Department, and I've been trying to make this point for months and months and months right now, it is inherently anti-business. When you do not have a Justice Department that you can either report threats to or that you can take a contract in to court to have enforced, your economy is going to go the way of Russia, which Russia is a failed state.
Right.
And it's just the pro-life party of MAGA has just been so exposed
Yeah.
for what hypocrites they are, that they say that they're pro-life. They say that they're pro-children. They say that they're pro-family, and they're none of it. They believe in absolutely nothing. They're all like rah-rah sis boom ball guns. And then Alex Preddy has a gun that he's legally can carry, and then they're against him having a gun.
Right.
They are so void of any conviction whatsoever. They just change their opinions 180 degree on a whim. It's fascinating, really, that they can just die on a hill, and then something on that hill, as they lie there dead,
Right.
they resurrect, and then they're on the complete other side of something. And it's that these people have ascended to power that have zero conviction in anything is so devastating to democracy. This podcast is supported by FX's Love Story, John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette, the new limited series from executive producer Ryan Murphy. It explores the complex courtship of the iconic couple considered to be American royalty, whose love story captured the attention of the nation. Their fairy tale romance would unfold in front of the public eye, where their private love would also become a national obsession. FX's Love Story, John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. Watch now on FX, Hulu, and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. All right. It's a new year, and I am really going to tackle my finances. I want to be better about paying off my debt, building up an emergency fund, and like maybe saving for a couple of vacations a year. And that's why I partnered with Monarch. Monarch is the all-in-one personal tool designed to make your life easier. It brings your entire financial budgeting, accounts, and investments, net worth, and future planning together on one dashboard on your phone or your laptop. It makes you feel aware and in control of your finances this year, and you can get 50% off of your Monarch subscription with code HADIT. Unlike most other personal finance apps, Monarch is built to make you proactive, not just reactive. Tracking your money is easier than ever with some of Monarch's most popular features. For example, they have data visualizations, investment tracking, individual and partner filters. So listeners, set yourself up for financial success in 2026 with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code HADIT at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with the code HADIT.
When you're talking about that, different people pop in my head that have done that, that have come out publicly. For example, J.D. Vance about the Epstein files. You know, we're protecting pedophiles. We need to release these, all the things he said. And then he shuts it down. And he knows we're talking pedophilia, and he is willing to cover it up.
But here's my thing. I get J.D. Vance is a political prostitute. He was paid by tech oligarchs to change his mind. He has zero conviction about anything. Zero. I'm more curious about everyday Americans that really have not benefited in any way, shape, or form by this administration. They're pro-capitalism, yet they have no capital.
Right.
They'll die on a hill fighting for billionaires, and the billionaires don't give a shit about them. How they can change 180 degrees. J.D. Vance got $10 million from Peter Thiel, and they promised to install him as president. So I'm like, okay, if you're diabolical enough and you're a prostitute and you put yourself on the market, whatever. Marco Rubio, he has wanted so desperately to ascend to higher power than Senate. He's never been able to do it. He's never been the boy wonder the Republican Party wanted him to be, but he wanted to be president. And so he knew if I suck up to Trump, I'll be Secretary of State. And after that, I'll be in a great position to be president. So he's gaming something. He's getting something. It's soulless. It's diabolical, but at least they're getting something from it. I'm talking about the everyday Americans that lose friendships, lose family members, lose their morals, do not get the tax break that all of the wealthy people do.
Right, pay more.
That change their opinion 180 degrees based on the wins of Trump. That's what's more fascinating to me.
No, I agree with that.
I understand as gross and psychotic as it is, there's been political prostitutes forever. In many ways, there's a lot of political prostitutes in the Democratic Party. They won't stand up and say abolish ICE. They don't have the fucking balls to it because Palantir gives them money. These oligarchs contribute to them. So it's like, okay, all these guys are prostitutes, but I'm talking about like everyday Americans that we know that have died on a hill. I'm a fiscal conservative. I believe in my pocketbook. And then they continue to vote for Republicans that wreck the economy every single time. And don't balance the budget ever and contribute to it. So the whole argument that they're fiscally conservative is immediately disproven by their idiotic, repetitive vote for a political party that claims we are so pro-business. In actuality, they are the death of business. They're short-term business that ends up causing long-term pain that never makes the economy absolutely stable.
Yeah. Okay. So when you're talking, I'm going over the people in my family that are diehard triple Trumpers. Number one, the Christian faith has been so intertwined with being a Republican. I think part of that, like they would feel like they could never vote for a Democrat because that would go against their faith. I know it sounds crazy, but I think that's something that they believe. It also feeds a lot of the stereotypes that they hold within themselves, the shit Trump does, like, you know, removing DEI, like white men have it so hard, like shut the fuck up. That in my family, the ability to be 100%, I'm a Christian, I'm moral, purity culture, and excuse everything. That was an ability that I was raised with. And I blame that on my faith, that it was prayer with no accountability. And if you didn't like it, you didn't think about it. So I think there's a lot of dissonance there. And then I think at the end of the day, the bad things that are happening to people, it's just a narcissism, an entitlement. Well, I'm white and have money, so I don't have to worry about that.
I also think that these evangelical churches, the way they've set them up as businesses and the tithing and the prosperity gospel really dovetails with capitalism in a way that has not behooved these people, but more than anything too, in the white Christian church, evangelical for whites. I'm talking about these mega churches. I'm talking about Life Church. I'm talking about the school you sent your kids to, Crossings Christian School. At the epicenter of that is racism. I remember there was a case at your kid's school where somebody was calling another kid or using the N-word, and the kid wasn't expelled. It was excused.
Right. I think he was suspended, but not expelled. He should have been expelled immediately. The whole family should have been.
Yeah.
But then we find out the parents are like that.
Well, of course they are.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. A lot of the racism, your ability to excuse it is because of the Christian narcissism, at least.
But also, I mean, in your instance, you grew up in it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like it was just taught, like you're exceptional, you're entitled.
Right.
Other people aren't you.
Right. But when you grow up in a home where people are, when they refer to Black people as the N-word exclusively, it is a default setting of racism that I think people on the coast don't realize still very much exists in Bible Belt America.
I agree.
And then when Obama became president, it really broke these racists. It really, really broke them. Megyn Kelly said it on her podcast. We haven't felt good since Obama was president. And then Trump has been kind of like the redemption tour for the racists. Like now, fuck you. Now we get to do it. now we get to be racist. And what gets me about these racists more than anything is how much they enjoy multiculturalism.
1,000,000%.
Like the racist that I've known, these people have not been my friends. These are just people I've known. They sign their kids up for basketball. Okay.
Right.
Okay. That's if you're racist, maybe go with croquet. You know, why are you putting your kids in basketball?
Right.
You know, and then they enjoy football, American football, dominated by African-American athletes. A lot of people in the South, their favorite go-to meal, Mexican.
Yep. 100%.
It's just, it's unbelievable how much they enjoy. But I think in that they still retain this, they owe us. Mexican people are to cook for us. They're to feed us. We're better. These athletes are to shut up and dribble.
Right.
You are to perform for me. They still suppress their humanity. I remember, and I've talked about this before on the pod, but I remember during Black Lives Matter, the NBA was a leader forefront on that because, you know, I think it's 85 something % of the NBA are Black athletes. And so, of course, these exceptional athletes that have made it ascended to the 0.0001% of all athletes. And so many young Black Americans or Black Americans in general look up to them. A lot of white Americans look up to these guys. And they used that NBA floor as a way to highlight social justice. And the meltdown from Oklahoma City Thunder fans during this time, because they put, you know, Black Lives Matter on the court and they were wearing like freedom or, you know, something on their jerseys, and how they felt like somehow that was taking something away from them. For an athlete to have an opinion, I thought was really one of the more despicable things I've observed. Like either you support basketball or you don't. And if you support basketball, have some humanity in it. These athletes get to have political opinions. They get to care about social justice. Many of them came from the hood and dribbled their way out and have never forgotten where they came from. And then all of these white people use it as entertainment. And I'll never forget when that Fox, Laura Ingraham, said to LeBron James, just shut up and dribble. And I just thought, that is the most demeaning white supremacist thing you could say. He gets to have a political opinion.
And he has a platform.
He gets to have it. You might not like it, like Harrison Butker, the the straight kicker for Kansas City. He went out and he, you know, told women they needed to work on their homemaking degree, and he thought women should stay at home and all of this shit. I don't like it. I root for him to miss every fucking kick, but I never really watch football. But if I see a highlight where he missed one, I love it. But he gets to say that. People get to shit talk, and you might not like it, and you might get canceled for it, like in his case, but you know, he didn't or whatever. But you get to do that. I just think it's just such a gross, the racism in white America, where they want the world to be curated for them. That's what curated for their sensibilities and their sensitivities. And they have the audacity to watch sports and to cheer for the excellence of a lot of these athletes. And then when these athletes have an opinion, they're so triggered and so narrow-minded and so fixed and rigid in their thinking. They have a stage 5 meltdown.
I think what you hit on is so important, because if a Black athlete has an opinion, you're taking away from my opinion. Like they think that, you know, gay marriage affects straight marriage. None of this has any effect. There's no like through line in that. But like you just look at how Bad Bunny, people were going crazy, you know, football, Super Bowl, all that shit. Instead of saying, oh, I need to take a look at that, they want to be just over and over confirmed that they're superior, and that a Spanish speaking artist would be at the Super Bowl takes away from them. I think it's a if everybody's equal, we don't have more. And so they come at everything. We are entitled to more. So anything that anybody takes away from me, not realizing that it has zero through line.
Well, and also it's just such a tell as to how uncultured these people are. You know, like I just got back from Mexico, and the flight down there and the flight back. I mean, I was just looking as the people got on the plane. I was like, for sure, MAGA, MAGA,
I know,
MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. And I thought, you know, I think this would never happen, but in my fantasy world, I would love for all of the crusty white racists that live in America, that are ruining this country, that are rigid, that refuse to grow, that have no empathy, no compassion, are a net negative on American culture. The worst human beings in this country are white racists, period. I think that it would be a fun experiment to say, okay, if you want to be a white racist, you cannot watch football, basketball, eat at Mexican restaurants, eat at Chinese restaurants. If we just said, this is what you want, here's Mississippi. We get all the cool Black and brown people out of Mississippi, and we put them all in there. No disrespect to any listener in Mississippi that's a blue dot. I know how hard it is. I just pulled that state arbitrarily. And they had to watch only white stuff, listen to only white music, and eat only white food.
It's a total meltdown, which goes back to they are entitled to have it. I think. I really do. I mean, I just do not see it anything other than just mass hatred, fear, and entitlement, and just narcissism. Like, I am superior. Well, I mean, it's called a supremacy for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And they just.
That's a great idea, though.
Wouldn't that be great? And have hidden cams.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about people I know.
And then watch and then they have a complete Wi-Fi blackout. You can't go check a score, your favorite university football team, your favorite NFL team, your favorite college basketball team. You can't check the scores on any of it. Like you want white supremacy, we're going to give you Mississippi. And you can't have any Wi-Fi except for only white people Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Which it turns out would be a lot of trans porn. But okay, here's the thing about that. The only bad thing that would come out of that is these people would spend more time at church with the hellfire and damnation.
Good. Good. Because it's not like they're spending less time.
Well, that's right. But that would be what was left.
But I mean, they would go there. And here's the thing. I just don't know that there's a younger generation that's come out of being fully indoctrinated. And the thing that people don't understand is religious indoctrination in the one that we're talking about, white evangelical megachurch culture, emotionally stunts people. They get completely stunted. So you have emotionally stunted, histrionic, crazy parents trying to raise kids, and it doesn't work unless you completely indoctrinate them as well. And so it goes on. And that's why you have a generation of people that are kind of breaking free from the obvious grift that is these mega churches, and this obvious lie that you should be a virgin until you're married. I mean, that's just one of the craziest, and that's their sole focus. Like that school that you sent your kids to. I mean, the sole focus is abstinence only, right?
Right. And everybody in a position of power had like 16-year-old mothers in their family, just as an aside. But that was how I was raised. Like, you did not have sex until you were married, full stop.
The problem with that is it causes such a danger for young people because they don't know what consent is.
That's right. That was never discussed.
And so you have situations where you have horny boys and girls that get in these situations, and you don't know, a boy hasn't been taught if a girl says no, right, that means no. And a girl hasn't been taught how to advocate for herself. And then something happens, and then they have all this guilt and shame for something that is completely natural. Nobody's ever taught them what consent means, how to respect your body, how to respect somebody else's body, how to prevent pregnancy. And then you have all of these deviant sexual things that are born out of that.
Yes.
out of that sexual shame that is taught to these kids, so many women will not ever enjoy sex because it's always been pitched to them as this horrible, dirty thing. And then a lot of men, I think that's where a lot of the misogyny comes in, because they hate the object of their desire. That is the driving North Star for the misogyny with women is, God damn it, I wish they weren't so hot. I wish I didn't want to fuck them so bad. So I'm going to hate them and I'm going to make their lives hard.
Equal, or in my mind, greater too, is that in an evangelical Christian family, misogyny, patriarchy, and sexism is taught. That's how it's supposed to be. Women teach it to their daughters. That's how I was taught. And in terms of consent, you would, let's say, never had sex before
Women
you're
are
married.
made.
Let's say you did that. You were super in it and you did that. Then if something made you feel uncomfortable sexually, you don't believe that you have the power to stop it.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
It's so dangerous.
Not
for women.
teaching people consent, and boys not teaching them how if a girl says no, because they're only taught one thing: don't do it, or you're going to hell.
Right.
You're not pure. And the whole idea that the Speaker of the House, little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson, put a purity ring on his child is so crazy. Like, that is such a radical Christian thing, putting a purity ring on your child's finger and saying your virginity is mine until you marry somebody, and then he can have it on your wedding night.
From me.
It is so crazy. It is so crazy.
I recognize how crazy it is, but that was all around me growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was always like, I was never into it, but that was around me. And that
I just remember growing up, all of my religious friends, they would talk about it ad nauseum. Like, I could be a virgin. I got to be pure. I got to be a virgin. I got to be pure. And then they were the first to lose their virginity. And then they're going to the abortion clinics. Yeah. And then they're going to the abortion clinics.
Because they don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I that's how I was raised. So I completely get it.
It's just, it's a real, like, that's the part of the electorate that fucks us.
Yeah. And if you look through the Bible Belt, that's the lowest in everything. Like, highest in crime, highest in poverty, lowest in, helping people, education, like all the bad things, they're super high in, all the good things, they're super low in.
Would like to thank HomeServe for sponsoring this episode. Listener, owning a home is amazing. I mean, totally amazing, until all of a sudden, it just simply isn't. 1 minute you're sipping coffee, and the next you're ankle deep in sewage from a burst pipe. And guess what? When you own it, your landlord doesn't pay for the repairs. You have to. Regular homeowners insurance usually doesn't cover a lot of the day-to-day wear and tear, plumbing failures, HVAC breakdowns, electrical issues. You're often left on your own for all of that. So that's where HomeServe comes in. It's like a subscription for your home. For as little as $4.99, they've got your back. Repairs hit fast and they hit hard, and you could be searching for a contractor in panic, or you could already be on the phone with HomeServe's 24/7 hotline scheduling a repair. It's super simple. All you have to do is choose your plan for your needs and budget. And when something on your plan goes wrong, just call their 24/7 hotline to start the repair process. Listener, help protect your home systems and your wallet with HomeServe against covered repairs. Plans start at just $4.99 a month. Go to homeserve.com to find the plan that's right for you. That's homeserve.com. Not available everywhere. Most plans range from $4.99 to $11.99 a month your first year. Terms apply on covered repairs. So here's the danger with a lot of these women, white women that raise their little girls to be good little Christian girls. And the focus is on submit to your husband, which is still very much alive in the Bible Belt. I've heard a lot of women say, well, my husband is the head of the household. That's
Absolutely.
Still very, very, very much alive in certain parts of the United States. And then they want their daughters to go to college, not for the reason of getting an education, but just for the social aspect of it. They want them to be in a sorority, and they want to be able to tell other people that their kids are doing this. But it's not about get your own money, get your own bag, have your own life.
Find a husband.
The problem with this is when you start giving up your daughter's rights, and you've given up your own rights, and you give misogyny daylight, it starts incubating something really, really, really dangerous. And then the right wing is incubating a horrific form of very regressive misogyny. And Project 2025 has now evolved, and their next flagship document that they're releasing is just hammering down on women like you wouldn't believe. And this is why Project 2025 refused to admonish Nick Fuentes, who is a known neo-Nazi, admitted, proud neo-Nazi. And Nick Fuentes in the last week said this on his podcast.
Women are made to be fucked, literally. That is what it is. Act potent. We are act, they are potential. They have eggs, we have sperm. Sexual act actualizes the potential, makes a baby. That is what they are made for. That they're made to be bred. They're made to have kids with. Okay, they exist for sex. Women exist for sex. That is why they are mothers, or they are whores, or they are nuns. End of list. Women are either mothers, whores, or nuns. No other options. There are no female philosophers. There are no female inventors. There are no female generals or billionaires. They are mothers, whores, nuns. End of list. That's what you can be.
All right. So people in the right wing have had a really difficult time swearing off Nick Fuentes. Project 2025 would not swear off Nick Fuentes. Tucker Carlson will not swear him off. And so to the triple trumping women that want their daughters to go to college and love their daughters, when you triple Trump, it's bigger than just your tax bracket. You are incubating this type of misogyny. And this is the thing where you go, oh my God, I had no idea they were going to go this far. And it's because you willfully denied what your religion is teaching you. If your religion is teaching you that women need to submit to their husbands, that is an inherently dangerous position to put your daughters in.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's how I was raised, 100%. And I would say, listening to him, that was never spoken like that crassly. But the message growing up for me was kind of that, like a good girl does this and a slut does that. So the messaging, while different, the message is the same. I mean, a lot of that, I thought, that's kind of how I was raised, although it was never that outspoken, but that's absolutely going on every single day.
Yeah. And I think that there's a whole lot of work we have to do in the female vote, the white female vote, and the incubation of this type of misogyny is something that should alarm everybody right now. J.D. Vance refuses to admonish Nick Fuentes. The president of the United States had dinner at Mar-a-Lago with Nick Fuentes. And this movement and his movement is called the Groypers. It is getting such a pace to it that I think it's just really, really something that we have to put a highlight on, because I'm very worried about the incubation of this form of misogyny, every bit as much as I am the incubation of racism and anti-immigration bigotry. But this type of women are a little bit more than half the population. And this type of stuff right here, this is the future of the Republican Party. And people go, oh my God, I can't believe she's saying that. No, it is. Trump is more radical than George W. Bush. Whatever comes after Trump is going to be far more radical than he is. And we're already seeing that in JD Vance. We're seeing it in Tucker Carlson, and we're seeing it in Nick Fuentes. And this guy's young.
Oh, he's young. And I think like the online stuff, the radicalization that's happening online, and there's nothing that I can pick up and read through that doesn't talk about how, people are having less sex. They blame that on women achieving in the workplace, how men are so lonely, like young men are so lonely. They don't have access to women. They're isolated. And everything that I see on that, and maybe it's just projection on my part, but it blames women and women's success for how pitiful these men are. And I think, look in the mirror.
Well, there's a through line, Pumps, with that. And what the point you were making earlier, that more rights for women doesn't mean fewer rights for men. And this is the all lives in the same place. And this is something I go hard at every single fucking time. You cannot pick and choose which rights are important, which ones aren't. They're all universally connected. And so you see, as the gender wars, if you will, or the gender equality issue, as women have started to ascend and still have a lot of work to do, but they can have jobs, credit cards, no fault divorce, et you see the male freak out.
Yes.
Okay. You see Black people rising up. We still have so much work to do. A Black man became president of the United States. You see a white lash. So a lot of this stuff that we're seeing from men is a man lash, but you have educated people that are very dangerous in the sense that they placate the men instead of using the same language that more rights for women doesn't mean fewer for you. This makes us all better and all safer. And so still the narrative around this is still very male-centered and blaming women. And so this shit with Nick Fuentes and others in the MAGA movement, because Trump's going to be dead soon. I don't know if it's 5 years, but it's not, right. It's our lifetime. I mean, he's going to keel over, right? But what he has incubated is what we need to be talking about. Trump's a lame dementia duck moron. I'm so tired of talking about him. I want to talk about who is the resistance, what are they doing, and what the fuck did he incubate? And what he is incubating is where I want to put my focus, because to the white women that you want to raise your girls and your little daughters tell you they want to be a doctor or they want to be a lawyer. And you think, okay, yeah, that would be great. I kind of wish I would have had more financial autonomy. I would love for my daughter to do that. But your husband tells you, I'll tell you what, if you want to get that purse next weekend, you better vote for Trump. Get your own thinking. You don't have to vote the way your husband votes. Allow your daughter to be liberated from the shackles of patriarchal Christian control that you were raised in. I'm not talking about you. I mean, you did that with your daughter. You did it with yourself and you did it with your daughter. But I'm talking about like the women that your friends from that school. They're raising girls to go find husbands.
Right.
And sometimes when you find husbands, your husbands are abusers, not good people. And then this guy, Nick Fuentes, and the Heritage Foundation want to make sure women can't get away from that.
Yeah. And you look at they're trying to get rid of, I read the paper that they published. It was on Substack. Somebody had gone through what Project 2025 is on women. And it is truly terrifying. They want to go back to, Beaver Cleaver days where, the wife gets X amount of dollars a month. They don't want women to
have their own bank accounts.
No, absolutely not. No access to money. Pete Hegseth's pastor had the Pentagon said women shouldn't be allowed to vote, that as a family, the husband does the voting.
This thing is picking up steam. And that's why
Pentagon.
It's why I want to talk about it today, because everybody gets cornered into their world of the internet. And we, as more mainstream style people, always treat right-wing conspiracy stuff as fringe. Well, now we have a conspiracy theory president.
Yes.
A man who started his campaign based on a conspiracy theory that Barack Obama wasn't born in the United States. And because so many white racists were so broken by the fact that a black man ate off the china in the White House, this white lash and this punitive nature has come back. So this shit with what they're incubating with women is real. And when somebody with a lot of power and organization and diabolical machinations starts telling you what they're going to do, my thing is we need to start listening. And the Democratic Party and the opposition, the resistance to this should be talking about the Nick Fuentes.
Yes.
Every journalist should be playing these clips for Pete Hegseth, for Marco Rubio, for JD Vance, for Donald Trump, and say, do you condemn this? Do you condemn his statement here? Because he is a part of your big tent of bigots. And so in the fight for democracy, we have to fight for so many things all at the same time. But one of the things that I've always fought for my whole life is the rights of women, and women having autonomy and agency over their money, over their bodies, over their futures. And this shit is so dangerous. And it's so tempting for young hormonal boys that have been told that sex is dirty and sex is bad to just buy into this. Oh, I can marry a woman, and then I can also have all these whores on the side.
Right. And it's her fault. I lost my virginity. I'm having premarital sex, but it's not my fault. It's her fault.
Right.
I abused this girl, but her skirt was too short. I mean, I remember that my whole life. That was a defense.
Getting worse.
It's getting worse instead of better.
And a lot of this is a backlash from Me Too. Me Too held a lot of people into account. And I think what we're seeing right now is a backlash. Trump's second term is a backlash to a lot of progress. A Black president, gay marriage, Me Too, holding these pervert sickos accountable. I think a lot of the resistance and releasing a lot of the Epstein stuff, whether it be Merrick Garland or Pam Bondi or whoever, Democrats, Republicans, is people, white men, thought too many good men have been punished because of this Me Too thing.
That's exactly right. And I can no longer slap my secretary on the ass or put my hand over her boob at work. I read an article just the other day about that and I had heard that originally, like people like CEOs on Wall Street or whatever. Maybe I heard somebody say it, that they felt emboldened now that they didn't have to be so politically correct.
Yeah, he said, now we can say retarded and pussy again.
Right. And I just read an article again, like they're still talking about how, to use Mark Zuckerberg's word, neutered, that they couldn't do all that.
And here's the thing I want to say about that. Mark Zuckerberg said that he felt neutered in the workplace because of Joe Biden's policies. If you feel like an 82-year-old man who I could tell was old as shit, knocking on death's door, neutered you, you were neutered before. You were never going to be a fully realized penis. It was never going to happen for you, Mark Zuckerberg. If the policies of an 82-year-old man neutered you, that dick was never going to get hard, ever. There wasn't a bottle of Viagra big enough that could make this thing happen for you. And that's the thing that I feel like in this fight for our democracy, we have to be forward thinking as well as to what these people are incubating, because the Democratic Party, myself included, would hear Trump and I would assume, well, nobody's going to elect him. That's crazy.
Nobody would.
He's so overtly racist. Mm-hmm. And we have to start looking at, because Trump is dementia duck boy.
Yeah.
He's going to drop dead or be termed out. Supreme Court's starting to buck him a little bit. He barely knows where he is half the time. So we have to start looking at what he's incubating. And the Democrats need to start attacking this and start putting the JD Vances in clips with Nick Fuentes, putting the Heritage Foundation, make the Heritage Foundation so fucking toxic, such a toxic organization that they refused. This is a conservative think tank that used to have kind of a legitimate standing. They've gone so far right. And that's the thing about Trump, man. He has broken so many people to their worst impulses.
Yeah, that's so true. Because the Heritage Foundation is fucking crazier than shithouse rats. And they part of their board left because they would not condemn Nick Fuentes. That's their guy.
Yeah, because they know they want his Well, furthermore, they're not condemning tells you exactly how diabolical their plans are.
Absolutely.
And that's where you have this weird intersection of these white Christian nationalists with oligarchs.
Yeah, it is the strangest
Because
bedfellows.
they don't want democracy. White Christian nationalists don't, because then they don't have power if the people have power. The oligarchs don't want democracy because then they don't have power if the people have power. And for very insecure, neutered people, everyday people having power is a real threat. And it's a real tell on how broken, emotionally stunted, and evil they are to their core. I mean, that's one of my biggest things about all these oligarchs is you have all this fuck you money and you can't tell Donald Trump to fuck off.
Exactly. Tim Cook, you run Apple. Like you have everybody on the planet at your fingertips and you're bowing
They're so
down.
undeserving.
Yes.
I would be such a good billionaire.
I would be the best
But
billionaire.
see, the thing is, we would never be billionaires because in order to be a billionaire, you have to exploit people. And you have to be heartless. And you have to, there's so much breakage along the way to becoming a billionaire where you know you're fucking people over. And then the next day you do it, and then it gets easier and easier and easier. And then you get to the point where it's just, you wake up,
Just the price of doing
exploit.
business.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that really is kind of terrifying.
All right. I have some cleanup here. I received a postcard in the mail since we're going over all my mail. And it is from Michael and Gary. And Joe and Jake Wellen. And they said, flew all the way to see your show. Instead, watched Mother Nature's performance. 0 stars, would not recommend. We still love you, though. So these are 4 of our very original Gatriots that like diehard Stan fans of the pod. And our tour organizer, Marcus is his name. Marcus was like, I'll tell you what, in February, you should go to Atlanta because it won't be cold there.
Mhm.
And so that'd be a great thing for you to do a little back to back. And we said, okay, we'll go on tour as long as they're matinees because we don't like to stay up late. So we plan it, sell out 2 shows, which is a miracle. And then Atlanta gets a bomb cyclone. And we didn't cancel it, but the venue and the organizers were like, y'all need to cancel it. People in the South.
Well, we were
freaked out.
packed, headed to the airport.
And so some of our patriots and Gatriots went anyway. And I am so sorry
Yeah, I'm so
that we
sorry.
missed you. And we rescheduled it for April 4th. We have a 1 p.m. and a 5 p.m. 1 p.m., 5 p.m. matinees because we're not going to start a show at 8 p.m., which ends up being at 9 p.m. ever again.
Yeah, because we like to be in bed by 9 p.m.
I just want to normalize earlier starts.
And I just love it. The matinee. We had a matinee on our very first tour. People loved it.
Yeah.
They loved it. We loved it. They loved it. It was a fun crowd. So matinees are great.
So I don't know if Joe, Jake Wellen,
You know they're
Michael
not going to go.
and
They're
Gary,
like, fuck off.
are they going to come back again on April 4th? But I wanted to say I received your postcard, which
What's the picture on that?
it says Kashan, Iran. So it's an Iranian postcard sent to us with Atlanta.
So they sent it from Atlanta.
hmm
They were madder than hornets when they sent it. Fair.
But they were sweet.
They're so sweet.
They were sweet about it. I'm really sorry. That makes me feel really bad. That's out of focus.
Now it's focused.
Yeah, so I'm really sorry about all that. All right, that's all we have. I just wanted to really talk to you all about this issue of sexism and misogyny and how bad it's incubating. And I want to make a plea to white women to fight for your daughters
Absolutely.
because it's that what is being incubated for them is a total erosion of all of the progress that we've made as a country. And we still have a long way to go, but my God, that shit is so insane. And he is young and he has an army called the Groypers.
The youth part of it is the scary part. And we've seen MAGA coded people on planes that were young. So it's real. Thank you for bringing it up.
All right, like, subscribe, all that. We'll see you next Tuesday and Thursday.
I'll tell you what I've had it with. Let's hear it. I've had it with that.
Listen up, patriots, gatriots, and natriots. We have a new podcast that has dropped. It's called iHip News. It's Monday through Friday, every day, 15 to 20 minute hot takes on the political landscape of the United States of America, always served with a side of petty grievances.
We are on all the available platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever you get your podcasts, and YouTube.
Please go rate, subscribe, and review so that we will chart upwards with America's greatest legal mind. Pumps, what does an eagle say?
Caw-caw!
A little bit more enthusiasm.
Caw-caw!
That's it. That's
Caw-caw!
the patriotism that this country needs right there.